There are moments in life when you believe you've seen it all, moments when you convince yourself that nothing else could possibly shock you. But then, just when you're convinced the world couldn't surprise you any further, someone comes along and proves you completely wrong. That's exactly what happened in this unbelievable encounter, one that left everyone shaking their heads in disbelief. It started with something as simple as walking to the car and ended with a demand so outrageous, so entitled, that it still feels unreal to talk about. Imagine this: you've had a long day. You're ready to head out with your wife, who's already by your side, excited for the outing you've been planning together. But suddenly, out of nowhere, a neighbor storms into the picture, someone who has made herself known for all the wrong reasons. She doesn't come politely, and she doesn't come with a simple request. No, she comes charging in with the authority she believes she holds, an authority she thinks outweighs all logic, decency, and respect. This wasn't just any neighbor, it was the infamous Karen of the neighborhood HOA. You know the type, the one who patrols the sidewalks as if she owns them, who glares at every car that dares park slightly outside the lines, who treats other people's business as her own. Yes, her. The one no one really wants to deal with, yet somehow, everyone ends up encountering at some point. On this particular day, her sense of entitlement reached heights no one could have imagined. She didn't just stop to complain about something trivial, and she didn't just lecture about rules she thought were broken. Instead, she followed a grown man to his car, intruded into a private moment between husband and wife, and then delivered a demand that was as insulting as it was absurd. With her hands on her hips and that self-assured tone that could make anyone's patience run thin, she insisted that the man's wife wait behind. Why? Because she, in all her arrogance, decided that she deserved to be driven into town first. She acted as though her schedule mattered more than anyone else's, as if her convenience was the only priority worth considering. And the way she phrased it, so casually, so unapologetically, left no doubt that she truly believed her demand was reasonable. Now, think about that for a second. A neighbor, someone with no claim over your time, no authority over your choices, and no right to interfere in your plans, following you to your car and demanding that your spouse, your wife, step aside while you cater to her. It's beyond rude. It's beyond offensive. It's the very definition of audacity. This story is not just about an encounter with an HOA Karen. It's about what happens when entitlement collides with common sense, when arrogance challenges patience, and when a line is crossed so boldly that it leaves a lasting impression on everyone who hears about it. Because this wasn't just a neighborly annoyance, this was an outrageous power play, one that no decent person could possibly justify. From the very beginning, the HOA Karen had a reputation. Everyone in the neighborhood knew her by name, though not necessarily with fondness. She carried herself like a self-appointed guardian of the community, constantly on the lookout for the smallest infractions. A lawn that grew half an inch too long. She'd make a note. A trash can left out 5 minutes past the collection time. Expect a knock on the door. It wasn't just that she enforced rules, it was the way she did it, with an air of superiority and disdain for anyone who didn't bow to her authority. The man who lived with his wife had tried, for the most part, to stay out of her way. He wasn't one for unnecessary conflict, and he certainly didn't go looking for it. But sometimes, as life would have it, conflict has a way of finding you whether you ask for it or not. That afternoon had been nothing special at first. He and his wife were preparing to head into town together, something they both enjoyed doing. It was their chance to spend time away from the neighborhood, to relax and enjoy each other's company without distractions. His wife was cheerful, and he was looking forward to the drive. But as they made their way to the car, he noticed her. Karen was standing nearby, watching. At first, he thought nothing of it. After all, she often lingered around, as though the sidewalks and driveways were her personal stage. But then, he realized she wasn't just watching. She was walking in their direction, her eyes locked onto them like a predator sizing up its next move. His wife gave him a quick look, the kind that silently says, "Here we go again." Karen didn't waste time with pleasantries. She didn't greet them, didn't ask how they were doing. Instead, she opened with a statement that immediately shifted the mood. She declared that she needed a ride into town. Just like that? No, please. No, could you? Just a flat-out announcement, as if her decision was final and not up for debate. The man was caught off guard, but before he could even process the request, Karen took it further. She turned her attention to his wife, as though she were nothing more than an accessory in the situation. With her chin lifted high, Karen told her to wait at home. The man, she insisted, would drive her to town first. The audacity was staggering. His wife was stunned into silence for a moment, unable to believe what she'd just heard. The man, too, struggled to find words. Who in their right mind would make such a demand? Who believed they had the authority to dictate another couple's plans in such a personal and intrusive way? Karen, however, didn't appear to notice their shock, or perhaps she simply didn't care. She stood there expectantly, as though waiting for him to hand over the keys and agree without protest. It was as if she believed her role in the HOA had somehow granted her privileges far beyond what was reasonable. The man finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. He made it clear that he and his wife had plans, and that they weren't about to change them for her convenience. His words were measured, not confrontational, but undeniably final. Karen's face tightened. She wasn't used to being told no, especially not in a situation where she'd already convinced herself she was in the right. But instead of backing down, Karen escalated. She accused him of being unneighborly, of not caring about the community, of failing to show basic decency. She layered her words with guilt-tripping tactics, trying to shame him into compliance. She even suggested that as part of the HOA, she had the authority to request assistance from residents. His wife couldn't help but laugh at that point, though it was more out of disbelief than humor. The idea that the HOA had any power to commandeer someone's car for personal errands was laughable, and yet Karen spoke as though it were an undeniable fact. The man, however, didn't laugh. He stood his ground, refusing to budge. He reminded Karen that his wife came first, that their plans came first, and that her demands were not only unreasonable but deeply disrespectful. His tone was steady, unwavering, and for the first time, Karen's confidence began to falter. Still, she wasn't ready to give up entirely. She huffed, she crossed her arms, she muttered under her breath about how some people just don't care. But when it became clear that her tactics weren't working, she finally retreated, though not without one last glare that carried all the frustration of someone who just lost a battle she thought she'd already won. As she walked away, the man and his wife exchanged a look. It was part exasperation, part relief, and part sheer disbelief. They had dealt with Karen before, but this was a new level entirely. To think that she not only demanded a ride but also tried to push his wife aside, it was something neither of them would forget anytime soon. Word of the encounter spread quickly through the neighborhood, as stories like these often do. Neighbors shook their heads. Some laughed, others rolled their eyes. But one thing was certain: Karen's reputation had reached a new height, or perhaps a new low. For the man and his wife, the incident became a reminder of the importance of boundaries, of standing firm in the face of entitlement, and of never letting someone else dictate the respect your spouse deserves. Because at the end of the day, while Karen may have tried to impose her will, it was their unity, their refusal to bow to absurdity, that truly defined the outcome. And what followed? Well, that's where things get even more interesting.